just a minute while we are preparing the broadcast. All right, looks like we are now live. Welcome to today's exclusive training for the Think Bigger real estate community. Very excited to be with you. Today, I want to answer the age-old question, which is this: how should I grow my real estate business? How do I get more leads? How do I get more referrals? How do I close more deals? And I'll tell you, one of the biggest detractors for you being successful at that is not the fact that you don't have enough talent. It's not the fact that you don't have enough opportunity. It's the fact that you are diluting your capabilities with a lack of focus. Let me say that again. You are diluting your capabilities with a lack of focus. Here's what happens is that the real estate world has been penetrated by very good marketers, and they continually tell you the success stories that they are having in helping their clients to have success with, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be door knocking, whether it be cold calling, whether it be cold texting, whatever, you name it, And there is somebody out there who has created a success story on some different platform using some different method, and they're not being dishonest. In most all cases, it's absolutely true that they have created success with clients doing that thing. And so you as a real estate agent, we as real estate agents are tempted. We are tempted to believe that because somebody else is having success with that the opportunity must be over there. Oh my goodness, it's not on Instagram anymore. It's now on TikTok. It's not on TikTok anymore. It's now on YouTube. The reality is there is opportunity everywhere. There are 100 different ways. And maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but there are a lot of different ways for you to grow a real estate business. The magic bullet in real estate is not the fact that there is one method. The magic bullet is you being consistently engaged and loving doing that thing. Okay, let me repeat that again. The magic bullet for you in real estate is to get up every day with excitement in your heart to say, I'm going to go to work, and you consistently do that work. That is the magic bullet. You know it, and I know it. And oftentimes we use different methodologies as a crutch because we're looking for a shortcut. And actually what we're looking for is an out. We're looking for an easier path, when in reality, we're taking ourselves on a freaking scenic tour that is harming our business, it's harming our families, it's harming our communities. So let's knock it off, all right? Today, I'm going to give you some very specific guidelines on how you can identify what is your best attributes, how you should be looking at what is the right methodology for you. Okay. Now, if you don't yet follow me on Instagram, please do so at Justin Stoddart. That's a place where we can engage in a conversation. Or if you're already connected to me on Facebook, you can messenger me there. I'm a big fan that training is one thing. I can give you stuff, but stuff goes a lot deeper, and we're able to specifically apply it to you when we enter into a conversation. So please do not let this just be training that falls on even open ears, let alone deaf ears. Let it fall on open ears, and then let's engage in a conversation. Allow me to help you apply the things that we learned today so that this actually changes you, right? One thing that I write every day as one of my affirmations is that I am a transformational leader. And I know that I can't actually transform people without being in conversation with them. I could give them good ideas, right? You can walk away from this with some good ideas, but it doesn't mean that it's actually going to transform you until we actually converse as to how this specifically applies to you. Because when you can teach it back to me and say, this was my aha, when you can say to me, Justin, this applied to me, help me understand this component here, or what do you think of this? All of a sudden now, there's more neuron connections, there's more connections internally, there's added validity that and effectiveness that this is actually going to work for you. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. I want to give you a few key questions that are going to help you to determine what methods you should be using. Okay. So first and foremost, I want you to ask yourself the question, which is this. Number one, what would I do if I didn't have to sell real estate? I was teaching this same content yesterday to a big group of agents, and one of the agents was from Arizona, and she loves to hike. There's great hiking in Arizona, right? So we had a brief exchange about that. Is it like if I weren't having to sell real estate, I'd probably be out hiking. I'd probably go do some fun things in the outdoors. Okay. For others, it would be, I would spend time giving my service to, at a local hospital. For other people, it would be I would be taking music lessons. For others, it would be I would be calling people on the phone. I'd be out meeting new people. Right? Inside of whatever you say there is a clue. It's a clue for you to really determine what is in my DNA. What do I actually love to do? Because I can tell you that, hey, the opportunity is in door knocking, and you might say you might need or want the opportunity so bad that you're willing to go knock doors. But if you have an internal aversion to knocking on a door with a stranger behind there, not knowing what's behind there, how they're going to treat you, if that's actually doesn't sound like a good time, and you can't actually get your head around that, and even over time get comfortable with that, then it's only going to last so long. You're only going to do it for so long. And the reality is it's going to take consistent activity in order for it to work. So what I'm trying to help you to do here is to identify what is at your DNA. Do you love meeting new people? Do you love almost the challenge of having a phone call where someone's like, yeah, who is this? And you can flip them and you can turn them around to where, not flip them off, but you can actually flip them and turn them to where all of a sudden you have a friend at the end. Some people love that. I don't get that. That's not me. But for other people, they're like, Justin, I love that. That's awesome. That's one of my favorite things to do. So if that's you, by all means, right? Then maybe cold calling is your jam. It's your thing. For other people, it's like, look, I've got a core group of people who I love to love on. Like I love to stay in contact with them. I love to host events. Like I'm a party goer. I'm a party hoster. And I love being involved in community events. Then there you go, right? There's some internal kind of DNA connections that we're making there. By the way, I have up here on the screen a QR code to a referral score. What that is it allows me in just a matter of minutes to be able to tell you how much opportunity is in your database that is untapped. In other words, how much commission is being left on the table with potentially you not having a few key systems in place. So if you're interested to know, right, there's no cost to it. I'll email you back the results within just a few hours, in most cases within 24 hours for sure. But it'll be really enlightening for you to identify. So if you're looking at that little QR code that's sitting right above my head, for those of you that are watching live, that's where it's at. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, you can go to thinkbiggerre.com/referral score. Again, thinkbiggerre.com/referral score. It'll take you there. A nice little kind of diagnostic to be able to identify, am I missing out on referrals? So let's now pivot to the referral part of the business. Again, if you love working with people, if you love connecting with people, then there's a pretty good idea, right? There's a pretty good concept that, and it's friends and it's very relationship based. It's kind of less of a transaction for you. It's very much, I want to stay in contact with these people long after the transaction. I see every one of my real estate agent clients as clients for life. Like if that's you, that's telling you something about yourself. Okay. So what would I do if I didn't have to sell real estate? In there are some clues. Okay. So that's point number one. Point number two is, what are your talents? What are you like really good at? Right. So for some people, I'll tell you, I have some friends who are very, very good, younger guys, very, very good at the door-to-door sales. Like they just kill it when it comes to like pest control around the country, lead big teams of people. Not me, right? Not me. So, but for some of you, and no judgment, right? We're all made differently. We've all been given different experiences to become who we are today. My encouragement to you is just stop fighting that, right? Stop fighting that and quit being distracted by all these other shiny objects that aren't really aligned with your DNA, aren't aligned with what is it that you would do if you didn't have to sell real estate. There's some clues in there, right? Also, what are your talents? And the last question I'm going to ask you to ask yourself is, what do others that are close to you, what do others say you're really good at? Right? So somebody might say, like, you're really good at speaking. You're really good at training. You're really good at teaching. You're really good at talking to strangers. You're really good at connecting and listening and connecting as a friend would, right? What are you hearing from people around you? And you might ask, hey, what do you think my talents are? What do you think I'm good at, right? If you haven't already heard that from people, ask them. Ask the people close to you, right? And they'll probably tell you. They'll probably tell you something. You're pretty good at this. And in that, again, you will find a clue as to whether or not you are more of a warm market person or more of a cold market person? Now, let me walk through some of the pros and cons of each, because some people think that there are only pros to warm market and there's only cons to cold market. And that's not true. Okay, so I'm going to share with you here, because again, once we kind of know something about our DNA and how we like to be, now I want to give you kind of a more broad framework of these two buckets, warm market and cold market, so that you can start to say, you know what, I probably fall within that one. Therefore, everything that is cold market, I probably shouldn't be listening to. Even though someone's killing it with cold calling, with cold texting, I don't think that's me, because I've identified that this is who I am. This is the way I love to interact with clients. This is how I love to find clients. Okay. Once we know that, all of a sudden we're adding years to your life because you're not chasing down rabbit holes. Now, I'm sharing this with you because I've learned the hard way, right? It's very enticing. Even as a very much a warm market guy, authored a book on warm market topics. I had an individual reach out to me, and he's an expert on LinkedIn. Like, he's very good at LinkedIn. And he had a whole system about cold emailing people through LinkedIn. And I'll tell you, it was very uncomfortable for me, right? Even though I wasn't sending them out, just the fact that I was showing up in people's inboxes and they were really unhappy about it. Now, I should get over that. Sure, call it a weakness, call it whatever you want. But I finally pulled back and I said, look, number one, I'm pursuing some bigger partnerships. But number two, I was like, I just don't like this, right? This isn't fit. This isn't me. And I spent a lot of money, right? So what I'm going to share with you here is not only going to save you a lot of money, but it's going to save you a lot of time. And we all know time is money, but time is more important than that, because the time that you're chasing rabbits that are contrary to your DNA is actually, it's wasting time with people with whom, and they have a shelf life, right? Let's be honest, we all have a shelf life. At some point, we will not make it out of this world alive. And people who you love that are older than you will pass on. People that you love that are younger than you will move out of your house and get busy with their own lives. So there's a very important message that I have here to share with you. Is this isn't just for fun. This isn't just, oh, let's play matchmaker and find out what stuff I'd be good at. Now, this is deeper than this, you guys. This is much more important than this. This is about preserving time with those relationships and about preserving your time to actually do effective things with your business. So hopefully you're feeling that. Hopefully you're seeing that, because that's my intent in sharing it with you, is to really help you to get your life back, right? To not spend it chasing things that are going to end up being a bit of a frustration to you. Okay, so warm market. Let's dive into now specifically what I want to share with you. Warm market. What are the pros? Okay, so the pros are work with friends. By the way, if you're watching this and you have a pro or a con, I'd love to hear it. Feel free to put it in the comments. I'd love to interact with you. Okay, get to work with friends. Okay. Now, some might say that's a con as well, right? Is that like, I want to go on vacation and not talk about real estate or not feel like I got to be on my A game, but I'm because my friends are there. I've got to be kind of have my game face on, right? So that could also be a con as well. It could be the fact like I just want to go have dinner with friends or not feel like I've got to go market to people, right? So that could be a con as well. Okay. So work with friends, right? This is more relationship driven. Okay. I think especially if you're a relationship-based person, that fits. Okay. Another pro is that there's maybe more gratifying, right? Because the people that you already love in life, the people you already have a relationship with, you get to help them win. Okay. So those are a few. On the con side, I think we, work with friends. I would say maybe more of a limited opportunity, right? Relationships take time. Now, I will put in the caveat here, which is my specialty, is helping your warm market to extend beyond just your personal sphere, okay? Because you can actually have this become your professional network as well. That's what I teach. That's what I spend a lot of time on. Why? Because I believe that this creates, right? This right here creates a scalable referral business. When it's just your sphere, oftentimes it doesn't as much, right? These here, right? They take a lot of time, and oftentimes they don't produce as big of a return as you'd like. So you feel a little bit stuck. Like, I'd like to grow more, but I don't know how to do it. Okay. When you tap into your professional network, all of a sudden that's much more scalable. Rather than getting one referral per every 10 people in your database, you get one referral partner who gives you 10 deals a year. Okay. So that's another side of it. Okay. I'm going to jump now to cold market. Let's take a look at this. And again, there is no right answer. Of course, I'm sharing relative to my DNA because that's just who I am. But I encourage you to be thinking about for yourself. Okay. Like the cold market in general is more transactional. Okay. Some people like that. Okay. Let's talk about some of the pros of cold market and as well as some of the cons, right? The cons are more rejection, right? You're going to have more time sorting. When I say sorting, I mean you're looking through leads, your conversion rate, right? Lower conversion rate. The pros is it's more scalable. In other words, you can as long as you've got the money behind it, right? Or the time behind it, you can go get business today. With referrals, sometimes that's a little bit harder, right? Because there's the endless opportunities. Okay. Another maybe con to this is that there's a cost, time or money. You're either spending the time calling lots of people or you're spending a lot of money to get the leads that you then get to sort through. Okay. So that's maybe a con. Now, of course, again, I'm not trying to steer you one way or the other. Because I'm more of a relational guy, I'll naturally come up with more cons on the cold market side. But I'm sure that you could probably come up, if you're more of a transactional, more of a cold market person, then hey, that's cool, right? That's no judgment on your heart. It doesn't mean you're cold hearted. It just means that you would have more to say on the pros side over here, right? I'll say this: you can easier to turn it off, right? When you're with friends, you're with friends. You don't feel like you've got to market to your friends. It's like clients are clients and friends are friends, right? And once the transaction's done, it's done, right? You don't necessarily have to feel like you got to stay in contact with people or create friendships that maybe you don't feel you would create otherwise. So again, these are a couple of ways. Now from this, I want you to go back to this first list and say, okay, what would I do if I didn't have to sell real estate? Like, what would I honestly be doing? Okay, hopefully you've answered that question. Number 2, what are your talents? What is it that you're naturally good at? Number 3, what do others say you're good at? From that, you should be able to identify, okay, I kind of know who I am and how I like to show up. And then go back and say, where do I fit best? Do I fit best in warm market? Do I fit best in cold market? Okay. If it is warm market, let me share with you a couple things. I actually had this aha as I was talking to a friend of mine who's now become a client. If you're watching, Jason, you're one of my favorite people, buddy. Excited to work with you. But what I realized is that so many agents who want to be warm market, they end up having a warm market database, but they don't really treat it like that. Okay. I'll get rid of this. In other words, they treat their people very, very well, but they don't continue to stay in contact with them. So because of that, people forget about them or they end up moving on to somebody else. And it's nothing personal. It's just whoever was top of mind when they needed a real estate agent's help, right? So even if you are a very relational person, like many people are, and you do an incredible job, if you don't actually have the systems in place, if you don't actually have systems that keep you in relationship with people, then by default, you just move to being more cold market. You by default, you move to being more transactional, right? Relationships take time and they take ongoing connection. And if you don't actually have a system of emailing people, of staying in contact with them through social media, of doing an annual wealth review, then by default, you're going to end up feeling like every year that you're starting over. Like you've got to go, boy, I've got all these clients that I served. However, I'm not really feeling like I'm starting on last year's success. I kind of feel like I'm out hustling, starting over again. So again, I think we've all felt like that to some degree. I know I have, even though, again, I'm a very relational person, sometimes just a lack of a few key systems to where the love that we have for people, right? Like the relationship we want to have, it doesn't happen because we get busy and they get busy. So by implementing a few key systems, you can actually have it to where you don't have to feel like you're starting over every year. So again, I hope this has been helpful. I would encourage you, again, if you haven't already taken me up on getting your referral score, do that. And if you're interested in knowing, like, tell me about these systems, I want to have a deeper conversation on what these 3 systems are. Because by the way, it's not a matter of outsourcing it to some service. I'll tell you, you can do that and feel like, oh no, I have an email system. My question to you is, when people open it, do they say, oh, this is coming from John. This sounds like John. Because if it's not really an email from John. It's an email from a service that John hooked you up to, which is a totally different experience. So I teach you, I have systems that help you to show up in their inbox, not the service you paid for show up in their inbox. Same thing in social media, same thing in the annual wealth review. So if any of that's of interest to you, reach out to me, DM me, just say, hey, let's chat more about these systems. And again, this will make it to where every year you're not feeling like you're starting from scratch. Every year you're building off of last year's success. So appreciate you tuning in, everybody. Again, there is a place for you in this big world of real estate marketing that is the right fit. and you can get up and love what you do every day, and you can do it with passion, and you can do it consistently. So if you need some help doing that, please reach out to me. And for everybody that's listening here today, thanks for tuning in. And lastly, of course, go think bigger. Talk soon, my friends.